Senator Howell? Here. Senator Sasslaw? Here. Senator Lucas? Here. Senator Newman? Here. Senator Rupp? Here. Senator Wagner? Here. Senator McDougal? Senator Vogel? Senator Jericho? Senator Obenshain? Senator Barker? Here. Senator Dominic? Senator Stewart? Senator Dance? Here. Senator Hager? Here. Senator Norman? Here.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. We have a number of bills on the docket this morning. A couple are a little bit confused. We have some people running late because of traffic this morning. We hope they'll be here shortly. We have, if you're here for the public safety committee report, we're going to have to push that to the end of Senator McDougal was one of those tied up in traffic this morning. So if you have something off of that that's fairly simple and you're here, maybe we can pull it out for you. But we'll go ahead and work down that'll get rushed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. First of all, Mr. Chairman, thanks for allowing me to work with the Senate staff yesterday. It was a gracious move on the part. I hope I was able to give them the information that y'all requested. House Bill 2074 sets up the criteria for the Virginia Venture Capital account. This Roth style account is supposed to bring in more venture capital in Virginia. Get that stage of business development past financial investors, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Rush, as you're aware, we were aware of your bill, looked at it, and had some initial concerns, so staff has helped out with you. And I want to share something. Our Cracker Jack staff attorney, there was a somewhat pitiful post on Facebook last night. It caused it in part for you, Delegate Rush.
Oh, okay.
She posted that she was having a romantic Valentine's evening, drawing up substitutes for some of the delegates. Anyway, we have a substitute.
Well, I would apologize. I'm not a Facebook guy, so luckily I did not see that. I would have signed up last if I didn't know that.
Okay. At least you have that substitute.
Yes, sir, of course,
And I'm sure, Rush, you and I have talked. The concept we think we like. We were just very concerned about something this creative out there without fleshing it out a bit. And you still have some concern with trying to draw something. You have an opportunity to look.
I have not looked at it, but your Cracker Jack staff informed me, and they told me the changes. If we could get something today, and it was time to continue to work on it, that'd be great.
This one doesn't have to go straight to the revenue bill. We can look at it now. I'd like for tax to react to it, and I'd like you to be able to fully inform before we move it forward. We are going to have a meeting tomorrow afternoon. If you have the possibility of deferring action till then, or if you feel comfortable, we can try to address it now.
I feel comfortable addressing it.
Okay.
Have you guys up there?
All right. Is anyone here to speak to this bill? Did I get it right?
Chairman Josh Levy with the Northern Virginia Technology Council just wanted to lend our support to this initiative. We think it's a very good piece of legislation just trying to bring more investment capital to Virginia entrepreneurs, and we fully support it.
Okay, others?
Mr. Chairman, Andrew Lamar, on behalf of the Richmond Technology Council, I just also support the bill for the reasons substitute.
Mr. Chairman, Keith Carter, with the Virginia Chamber, we also support it.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go any further, I think because there were some changes that we made to the original draft that was presented, I'd like to say, Charles, if you could step off the field of where you addressed it.
Mr. Chairman, the substitute does three things. It places a sunset on the subtraction for 2022. It limits the amount of subtraction per taxpayer per year to $5,000. And it further defines a qualifying company as a company with revenues up to $5 million per year. Mr. Chairman, the substitute also has a reenactment provision at the end. And I want to take a look at that.
That was very ominous.
The reenactment provision may be something that, the concern was, and I, at this point, certainly will, I actually will, the committee, I suggested that yesterday, since we weren't really sure of the potential impact of this. Obviously, I think you probably want something to be effective right away. What is your reaction to the other part of that?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I would be okay with one of the three. I believe the $5,000 limit is too limiting. We really need this investment. And to give you an example, Virginia gets less than 2% of venture capital in the United States. And with California, Massachusetts, and New York getting 75% of this capital, that's an intellectual brain drain going out. It's our companies that are going to relocate once they get past that angel investor and the research and development. I don't think the $5,000 is enough to entice people to do what we want them to do in Virginia. So I wouldn't want that. I think the $5 million limit of the companies, that's the same as what we have for the angel investors. We're trying to get that next group, and I think that'd be too limited. If we could act favorably, I'm happy to continue negotiation in confidence.
That might be a direction. Could we get just an initial reaction from facts on this? Have y'all had an opportunity to review this?
Mr. Chairman, Mark Haskins, Department of Taxation. Just briefly looking at this bill, it certainly seems to limit the potential fiscal impact on what the original bill was, but it's certainly something we can administer. The $5,000 cap is something that we can deal with. From an administrative standpoint, we can deal with the bill, and it appears that the revenue is probably $287 per taxpayer. It's a 5 3/4% rate. So it's got a limited fiscal impact.
You shared quickly just intuitive other than the form reaction to it. I like the concept of the bill. I think $5,000 strikes me as being a de minimis entry level auditing. I was wondering if you would be receptive to us going ahead and reporting it out with the reenactment clause and have the House reject it. Let's put it into context and see if we can work out a couple of these other details. And if we are not reenactment clause, off of that, at least give it an opportunity to evolve.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Norman, I would be favorable to that. I think it's a great start for us to get this bill right.
Okay.
I'm not being mischievous.
Senator Norman, I trust you.
All right, is there anyone here that is here to speak in opposition to this bill? All right, we've not adopted the substitute. Is there a motion to adopt the substitute?
Second.
Motion properly supported. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, is there, what's the pleasure? Okay, motion properly supported to report House Bill 2074, Amendment to Nature Substitute. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, bill's reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rush. All right, Dr. Hiram.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The substitute for rules, I guess that's the one that you have in front of you. Make sure you have the right version.
2348.
Okay, yes.
Yes,
House Bill
right,
2348.
And
The substitute that was proposed by rules actually takes the intent of the bill, which was to keep us in line with other states that are recognizing the commemoration of the centennial of women's right to vote, and puts it underneath the direction of the Virginia Historical Society and sets up a task force that works along with them to educate and promote the recognition of this event.
Okay, as Dr. Byron indicated, this came to us from rules because of the financial implications of the note that the clause was added in the rules committee. And so if we pass this, then it would accept. It wasn't added?
No.
That was the motion. It wasn't added in the rules?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, the rules substitute changed this so the Virginia Historical Society would be the one leading the commemoration with a task force of appointed members, but it's not included in the clause.
Okay, all right, I believe the, let me check this here a moment. Whatever, I had this information. The cost, do you recall, I believe $12,000?
No, we had, I think, 6 in the House, and we put it in the budget.
Is that
There's 12.5 in the House budget.
12,500 in the House budget?
FIS ranges from 6,000.
Okay, okay. All right, that being the case, that being the case, apparently it was still, even though we don't have the clause, it was still be subject to the budget action, so the Senate did not include. We had a bill that did not quite make it all the way through, and that was its status. All right, let's play the committee. Motion properly supported to report House Bill 2348. The understanding the money is included, at least in the House budget, and we'll try to do that for it. Without the clause. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, Bill, you
Thank you very much.
Delegate McGuinn.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Chair, I have House Bill 2296. And this bill calls for the establishing of a task force through the Virginia Foundation for Humanities to identify the history of formerly enslaved African Americans in Virginia, and determine ways to preserve their history for cultural and educational purposes. The foundation would look at establishing an inventory and database of sites and places and people who have made tremendous contribution to the Commonwealth of Virginia. And it's a 12-member task force with both legislative and non-legislative individuals to serve in this foundation and to move forward with the necessary duties.
Okay. Again, this was reported from rules and came here because of financial implications. And my information again is following the services. Was that okay? It's not. I believe they brought these all to rules.
You were thinking, you should have been called. It was not come to you.
Okay, okay. That'd be good. That'd be good.
Mr. Chairman, I would respectfully move on House Bill 2296 to add the clause to continue.
Okay. Is there a second for that? Motion properly supported to add financial contingency clause. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Now we're on the same page.
Okay.
And any further discussion on this particular bill? Hearing none, is there a motion? Motion properly supported to report the bill, that is House Bill 2296 as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. That'll be carried.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. We have before you House Bill 1768. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, this is
work product that came out of the Joint Commission on Compensation and Retirement. It basically is to ask or require the Virginia retirement system that they adopt a formal policy to develop and report a number of different things: sensitivity and stress test analyses, improving investment transparency and reporting, and regularly reporting their investment performance and expenses. It's reasonably straightforward, so that's basically what it does. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Anyone here to speak either in favor or opposition to this bill? What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report the bill. That is House Bill 1768. For discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The bill is reported.
I do thank the chairman and the committee.
All right. Delegate Laura. All right. Laura.
Well, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Good morning.
House Bill 1838. Mr. Chairman.
I'd also like to offer him congratulations.
Thank you.
All that in favor.
So, do I have anybody from the Department of Education here? I have met with them, Mr. Chairman. What we were trying to effect on this, we're actually probably proposing a Section 1 bill that would just have the department gather information before we actually implemented the policy, splitting it into half.
Okay, so you're interested in doing a substitute here?
Yeah.
Have I? You need another day? Your bill has received a lot of attention.
I don't have it with me on the front. Can we pass by temporarily, Mr. Chairman, and get that later on the docket?
We also have the possibility of March, we're going to meet March and do two.
I'm trying to have this one.
Okay, that'd be great. Delegate Barak. Delegate Weaver. Delegate Robinson.
Good morning. So House Bill 2207 is a Medicaid reform bill, and what it has to do is monitoring excessive EBT replacement cards in the food stamp program, okay? So what the legislation does is to monitor the request, that if you get 4 requests in a 12-month period, then the department sort of a written notice to that account that is being monitored for suspicious activities, and any additional requests for an EBT replacement card require that they contact the department by phone and explain why they need a replacement card. And a replacement card won't necessarily be denied, they just want, we want somebody to make a phone call to the department and to request it. Right now, the Federal Food and Nutrition Service already requires the states monitor the accounts at the request of at least 4 cards per year, but they don't require any kind of inquiry. So what we want to do is make that a requirement, and then we're just looking for people who are abusing the system and try using the cards to fraud.
Sounds like a good proposal. Senator Monkey.
Right now, we're giving them 8. Well, we figured that that's in compliance with the federal government's request that they have to.
We have in reviewing this, I know that the House included some money in the budget for the bill. As we reviewed it, it appears it's going to cost a little more than that. So we may need to put clause on this, but then we can perhaps work this out.
But there is money in the House side.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, there's a motion properly support to add the financial contingency clause. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Anyone here to speak for the bill? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report the bill, that is House Bill 2207 as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Bill's reported.
Thank you very much.
All right, Delegate Barak, Delegate Weaver.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
I have before you House Bill
1566.
Okay, House Bill 1566.
Yes, sir. As I explained in the previous committee, the bill has been amended considerably. So let me just explain what the bill currently does, because the summary is, should only now be about 2 sentences long, and it's usually it's a big paragraph. Any instances where the Attorney General is listed are no longer in the bill. What the bill does is it gives the Joint Commission on Rules the task of looking at 3 occupations, at least 3 occupations during the course of the year, and determining the rules and regulations regarding that occupation or that agency, and coming up with recommendations to lessen them. The reason we came up with this piece of legislation, Mr. Chairman, is that Virginia is the 11th most broadly and onerously licensed state. It also has some of the most burdensome licensing laws. And the way the bill functions is we have a person who is going to look at these and come up with recommendations for the Joint Commission on Rules to then enact legislation in order to lessen some of these. This has been a proposal that has gone through the Obama administration, or not the proposal, but an idea to lessen the barriers to entry, et cetera. And I have people here to speak on that behalf. The reason we have the Joint Commission on Rules is we do not want to create a new commission. And we also wanted the ability to take back some of these, to look at these regulations to come to the legislature, to the legislative body. So that's the reason for the bill, is what the bill does.
Okay. Do you have someone want to speak?
Yeah, we have people here.
Here, brief comment, it was discussed in rules, and it was here because of financial implications, so just give a word of support for it, and then we'll move on.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the committee. Jorge Lima, on behalf of the Libre Initiative, an organization that's part of Americans' prosperity and dedicated to advancing the principles of a free and open society, particularly for the U.S. Hispanic community across this country. We're here in support of Bill 1566. We believe that the onerous licenses referenced as part of Virginia law here are holding back many Latinos as well as other workers across the state. It is rare to find bipartisan agreement on issues these days. This is one where, as mentioned, politicians from President Barack Obama to Senator Mike Lee have agreed that these have onerous burdens on many in our community, including those in the Latino and minority groups. State-by-state comparisons are very helpful here. As mentioned, Virginia is the 11th most broadly and onerously licensed state when looking at 102 different low to moderate income occupations. That is particularly burdensome on Latino workers, particularly looking at Virginia's licensing requirements for commercial construction contractors, an area where Latinos are more likely to work. Greater scrutiny over licensing requirements has the power to create jobs and opportunities. Many individuals are simply looking to take that first step up the economic ladder. We're talking about not just their jobs, but the potential jobs that they can create, as these people tend to be entrepreneurs and will create small businesses once they are able to get into the workplace. Since the 1950s, licensing has grown from an estimated 1 in 20 occupations to today 1 in 3. During that same time, the number of times when occupations have been deregulated or licensing deregulations can be counted with 2 hands. There is a need to review the existing licensing requirements on these jobs. We believe Bill 1566 is a move in the right direction, and that is why we are here to support that bill today.
Okay, thank you. Anyone here else to speak? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill?
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Jay Ford, the Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation. If you just give me a second.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into the policy implications, regulation, licensure, and all of that. You've heard that year after year. It's a multi-state effort, and I think you all know that. The bill as it's before you now does considerably less harm than the bill did as it left the House. Much of it has been taken out. However, there are some elements still in this bill that I need to caution you about, and it's the reconstitution of the entire lexicon as it deals with regulation in Virginia. It redefines regulation, certification, and licensure in ways that are unfamiliar to Virginia. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen senators, those terms are peppered throughout our code. They have been fought over and they have been litigated for decades. Suddenly changing them in this bill, which no longer has any other operative effect other than to cause legislative services to have to hire a regulatory analyst, will have some consequences, and I just need to caution you about that. Changing those definitions, I think you could find probably 20, 30 different opinions out here as to what that's going to cause. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Does any member of the committee have a question for the former delegate, former contestant on Jeopardy? No, thank you. Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, we had, in looking at this, I think you're aware there's some cost implications still in the bill. That's why it's here.
Yes, sir.
And you think it's appropriate to add the clause if we're going to advance this bill. What's the pleasure of the committee? Okay, is there a second? Motion properly supported to add the name contingency clause. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, that is added. What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report House Bill 1566 as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Wait to see if Chris Johnson.
Okay, I'll record the note. The bill's report.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Was Chris there?
Yeah. All right, let's see, we had Delegate Laurent, you got Delegate Yancey. Delegate Vince, we'll get you real quick. You and Delegate Abbo have a little bit of complications we could also be running on through. But Delegate Ross, you're here. Let's go get with that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2092 is a common sense anti-fraud initiative, and it would require local director or commissioner to use existing databases to verify each applicant's eligibility for public assistance by checking identity, income, assets, death records, lottery winnings, correctional status. So based on the outcomes of similar initiatives in other states, there have been significant savings through refining the eligibility records. And for example, in Illinois, 2010 an audit disclosed 14,000 deceased people on Medicaid rolls. And in 2014, Arkansas discovered a 3% fraud rate in their Medicaid rolls. So we're hoping that a similar initiative here in Virginia could have similar outcomes.
Okay, Delegate Ross, just I've reviewed this. It looks like actually a very good idea. It does have some national implications, so if we could add the clause. Motion properly supported to add the financial contingency clause. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, is anyone here to speak in support of this bill or in opposition to this bill? Hearing none, let's select the committee. Motion properly supported is to report House Bill 2092 as amended. For discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Bill is reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Delegate Ross. All right, Delegate Yancey.
Hey, Mr. Chair, and members, first, I regret and apologize for within the subcommittee meeting in regards to House Bill 1815. House Bill 1815 seeks to address.
Okay. It's in the public safety report. Is it just one of the lead hearing? You'll be happy with the outcome on this one, so we got you covered.
Excellent.
Appreciate you being here, and, you sure we're gonna catch this bill?
Came out of subcommittee, but I wanted to make sure members of my questions for me, so.
Okay, I think you're in good shape.
Thanks, Chairman.
Thank you very much. All right, Doug Lemonnier, House Bill 2144.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This comes to you from the General Laws and Technology Committee. This is related to the Freedom of Information Act Advisory Council. And the bill proposes to add 2 legislative members, 1 member of the House, 1 member of the Senate. To increase the total number of members to 14, there would be 2 senators and 2 members of the House. I believe the reason why it's here is there would be a premium for members to attend the meetings, and so there'd be a modest incremental change in the cost.
Okay. Calling attention to this bill, the only reason it's here is it would add a couple legislative members, a member of the House of Delegates, a member of the Senate, so there would just be a per diem cost. What's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly support to report House Bill 2144, due to the Freedom of Information Advisory Council. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, yes, all right. We got Delegate Jones up next, I believe.
Chairman, thank you. I think I have 3 bills today. Got HB 2243, which is technical changes to the Line of Duty Act. Put out in the bill again last year, and also there's a clarifying amendment as well. It came over. Of course, we went through the comprehensive Line of Duty Act last year, and there were some things that VRS was going to do with the HRM and the interim working with Department of Accounts, et cetera. And so this is a technical cleanup bill. But funny thing happened on the way to this year. We found that there were probably a handful of individuals who currently were receiving a benefit that would have been adversely affected by this legislation. So the change that we made in the House is grandfathered any individual who had lost a spouse who was receiving, had remarried and was receiving health insurance and benefits, that they would not be affected by the bill when it goes into effect July 1st of this year. And it will state that if you are currently receiving a remarried and receiving a benefit, you would not lose that benefit beginning July 1st of 2018. So in essence, they are grandfathered. Now, someone could be married between now and then and be grandfathered who would not adversely affect anybody who is currently receiving that benefit. And we met with stakeholders in my office, and they were all in agreement, and so I think that's where the process should work, and that's what's before you.
Okay, very good. You still kind of chairing a work group on that.
The work group is done for now, and I'm sure there'll be other things in the future we'll be dealing with this topic.
Okay, thank you. Yes, comments?
Mr. Chairman, Wayne Huggins, representing the State Police Association. We truly appreciate the chairman's leadership on this matter, particularly as it relates to spouses who are currently covered. And we hope our person takes this measure, and thank you for his support. Thank you.
Thank you. Were there any amendments that were needed on the number of clarifying and technical?
Yeah, they came over from the House, yes, sir. I know there's nothing.
You don't need anything, okay? All right, you've heard the bill, let's close the committee. Motion properly supported to report the bill, House Bill 2243. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, House Bill 2247 deals with the ABC authority. This bill passed several years ago. It was Delegate Albo's bill, and it is Senator McDougal's bill, I believe. And what this bill will do is say that employees of the agency today, when it becomes an authority, I think in 2018, that if they're offered the same job that they have, they will not be in line to get Workforce Transition Act benefits. We changed from its introduction. If you look at lines 12 through 39, we wanted to make sure that since they were not going to be in line for WTA at the transit when converted to an authority, that at some point in time if their job did change, they would be under the WTA, that they would then benefit if their job was materially changed. It's pretty straightforward, and and that answers any questions if you have any.
Okay. Senator Duke?
Mr. Chairman, I think you included the same language in the agency authority bill as it left the Senate.
Right.
This is, I think, a very good policy decision to make sure that people continue to do the same job, even though the entity's name is changed. Right. They'll still be compensated the same way.
Okay. I think you're right. We addressed this issue in the Senate bill as well as out those in a single bill, but there seems to be some reason for advancing both the House bills without combining them. So, what's the pleasure of the committee? Motion properly supported to report House Bill 2247. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, the last bill that I have is House Bill 2251. This came out of the Speakers Commission on employee compensation, retirement, etc. And one of the recommendations, there are a series of amendments. I believe that Lisa has. We will do a substitute for document first. We thought the line amendments would be the best route to go. And what the amendments would actually do is say for those institutions that have an optional retirement plan, they would not be required to create something new. They could use their existing going in that regard. I do know that over the years there's been some concern when this type of bill gets to this body. And I know that the chairman has some concerns, Chairman Hanger, and I've talked to Chairman Norman, and I believe there's going to be an amendment offered after these other series of amendments. I'd like this to possibly further discuss this as the session moves along.
Mr. Chairman, I would remove the amendments 1 through 4.
Okay. There's a motion properly supported to remove the block of amendments. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, those amendments are adopted.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Norman?
I would move additional amendment which would remove the language for reenactment clause.
Okay, is there a second to that? Motion properly supported to add a reenactment clause. Any further discussion? All those in favor of that signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Okay, is there a second? Motion properly supported to report House Bill 2251 as amended. Here you go for the discussion. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your work on these issues. Delegate Alva.
Good morning. I just do 1487 first.
What was that number again?
1487.
Okay,
Got it? Okay, so I explained this in court, so I'll see if I can do it quickly here. And in Fairfax, we have 15 circuit court seats. 2 are vacant. 1 has a workload of 1. 1 has a workload of a half. There's another seat currently held by a judge who must retire within 3 years. She just turned 70. The Fairfax delegation has chosen 2 judges. Our plan is to not sit them until 6 months into the term so that the total fiscal impact of those 2 judges won't affect this budget. This deals with the second issue. And the second issue is that there are people who don't want to obligate the Commonwealth to fund a half seat in the future, even though it may never happen, and at most it would be maybe 18 months. So what we're doing here is we're taking the seat that is our extra seat, and we're killing it after that judge retires, so that we can show that we're not looking to fund the empty seat in the future.
Senator Howe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I I think it's important for the committee to know that there is not unanimity on this matter with the Fairfax delegation. Some of us believe that we should keep things pretty much the way they are until we have the results of the study that's coming out in October. And to de-authorize one of our judgeships seems very premature, especially when some of us believe we'll have some additional at the end of the study, but of course nobody knows at this point.
Mr. Chairman, I do value Alvo an A+ on creativity. For a number of years, budget conference and through the budgetary process, some of us have tried to be fairly vigilant in maintaining a consistent and objective approach on managing these judgeships. In general, we try to do it in the current time frame rather than looking forward and trying to, through conjecture, determine what may happen or may not happen. And I would just say, along with Senator Howell, while I don't have any dog in that fight up in the Northern Virginia judgeships, I do feel some sense of responsibility in trying to maintain a consistent discipline on how we handle the judges. And I would feel more comfortable if we dealt with this at a time when it was a reality and not conjecture. So with all due respect, without doubt, the position bill.
Okay, anyone else to speak to that? Is there any merit to keeping the bill alive for a conference, or what's pleasure to think?
Move to DEI.
Motion properly supported to pass the bill by. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We got a very good.
Friend of mine too.
Very next result here, but it does appear we're going to leave yours on the table.
That's all right. Okay, so the next one is 2359. You've already seen this. Senator McDougal has a similar bill. It's the update to changing the Virginia alcohol beverage control from an agency to an authority. Is that ringing a bell, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I think this needs to be conformed with always at one decision, or is it just the right way? Okay, we need to leave it the way it is now.
it's what it is. You're going to leave your bill the way it is.
Yes, we have, our bills are slightly different, but we're doing it on purpose.
I got it. Just the workforce transition act piece.
No, so right now,
If there's a penalty, it's not really a penalty, it's an enforcement piece that came to us, wasn't the major focus of the bill along the way, but there's we're moving it differently so that as it moves through the executive branch, there can be some choices made along the way, but it doesn't really substantively deal with the authority. It was something that the ABC has been overlooked for a number of years, and as we were coding through the authority, we found it, but we're going to send one and dealing with it one way, one not, and then hopefully resolve that with the executive branch. But everything else dealing with the authority is the same. This is just a technical enforcement.
Okay, ready to move the report?
Yes.
So second, the report. Motion properly supported to report bill that is House Bill 2359, dealing with the ABC Control Authority. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Bill report.
thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Alvo. We have a bill, House Bill 2346. Delegate Davis has been held up. He was out of town for a funeral. It is not back yet. His bill seems to be fairly simple. We can look at the explanation on page 23. I'm going to staff review this one. Basically, this just requires the Auditor of Public Accounts to include on the Commonwealth Data Point website information on major categories of spending for each state agency and institution, including each independent agency. Currently only includes information for Secretary anyone here to speak in favor or opposition to House Bill 2436? Okay, there's a motion properly supported to report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That bill is reported. I don't see Dr. R. Maybe he's still working on this. Is there anyone? Is that there? Oh, that's what I'm saying. You got to talk to Secretary.
Mr. Chairman, I move to these rather rapidly. Mr. Chairman, I'll take them in different sections. First is Delegate Yancey's HB 1815. It's on page 6 of your handout. Mr. Chairman, the Senate did not, and also including now. Mr. Chairman, this was a bill that passed out of the Senate Courts Committee. The subcommittee did not have the money to work through the process. The Secretary of Technology was able to give up $50,000 from a technology fund that is in her purview, allowing us to be able to do this. I talked with Senator Mason, and he was very happy that we were able to get it done, even though we couldn't get it done on the Senate side. So in essence, we're taking $50,000 out of the CIT money in order to be able to fund this. So the subcommittee's recommendation was that 1815 report.
Okay. All right, the first recommendation, there's a motion properly supported to report House Bill 1815. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. That bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, next is House Bill 2410, Delegate Gilbert's bill. This is the same as Senator Reed's bill and Senator Howell's bill relating to agent of crimes to materially support terrorist organizations, and because it was in the Senate budget, we recommended reporting and out of Senate.
Okay, is there a second? All right, motion properly supported to report House Bill 2410. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, next is House Bill 1485, Delegate Ricky Bell's bill. Mr. Chairman, we had a similar bill, Senator Reed's bill, as it's moved through the process. The state police approached the subcommittee and said this were not to pass. It would create some challenges to them in enforcement, and so we are recommending reporting with the clause. So I would move that the clause be added to 1485.
Okay. Motion properly supported to add the financial contingency clause to House Bill 1485. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman, we recommended reporting with the clause.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, next is House Bill 1616, Delegate Lingenfelter's bill. This is one that we have looked at. I think this is our third or fourth session, which we've seen the version. Each of the previous sessions, we put the clause on it, or at least the majority of those sessions, we put the clause on it. And Delegate Lingenfelter had to duke it out with the conferees, and we're giving him that opportunity again. As a former Army colonel, we figured that he has the ability to persuade them.
Okay.
So I move that we add the clause to 1616.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion properly supported to add the financing contingency clause to House Bill 1616. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the amendment is added.
Mr. Chairman, I move that that be reported with the amended clause.
Okay, motion properly. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion properly supported to report House Bill 1616 as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That bill is reported.
Mr. Chairman, next is House Bill 1392, also Delegate Lingenfelter's bill. There was a Senate Courts amendment. We're recommending a substitute that would take physical impact, so in essence it would make school security officers training a local requirement, not a state requirement, so it takes all physical impact. So I've moved the substitute.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adopting the substitute, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, substitutes.
And Mr. Chairman, with the adoption of the substitute, this is now a discretionary on the locality modality, and so it doesn't require the training. I think you can see that on page 8 of the substitute, and so our recommendation was to report.
Okay, so motion properly supported to report House Bill 1392, amendment H of substitute. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? Hearing none. All excuse me. Go ahead. Apologize to also if you have concerns here.
No problem, Roy. Good morning, Mr. Chair, and members of this committee. My name is Kevin Holton, and I'm with the Richmond Association of Black Social Workers, and we speak in opposition to this bill. Reason being that we believe that we want to keep lethal weapons out of the schools. We don't want to inject more, and to that end, whether you have more training or not, we still believe that having more weapons is a long way to go. We want to, whether students or it's faculty, teachers or staff or security officers, we want to have less weapons in the school instead of more. Also, we believe that will be very intimidating to our students. It doesn't foster a nurturing learning environment. And lastly, during the school session, police are very close, whether it's police or sheriff's deputies, they're very close to the schools, usually within 5 minutes response time, so we don't believe that there needs to be firearms in the schools.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I would tell the gentleman and the rest of the committee that with the substitute, this grants the local school boards the authority to authorize this or not. So the school board in each jurisdiction would have the individual choice of whether to give their individuals in their school systems.
Okay. Makes it better. You might still have your concerns to use, but want to react to that. Okay. All right. Yes.
Hi, I'm also part of the Richmond chapter of the National Association of Black Social Workers, and it's concerning that authorizing school security officers to carry firearms in performance of their duty due to the constant abuse that our children endure on a daily basis at the hands of these same individuals, and it is documented. It is alarming that it is a possibility that we are equipping these same individuals with firearms that will not only harm but kill our children that we promise to protect. Excessive force needs to be addressed instead of authorizing firearms.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The are there others to speak? Should we do it was that a unanimous recommendation? It was. Okay, motion properly support report House Bill 1392, amendment nature substitute granting local authority to make this decision. For discussion, hearing none, all those in favor of reporting House Bill 1392, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, Bill's report.
Mr. Chairman, next we have House Bill 1856. This is Delegate Rob Bell's bill, similar to Senator Ocean in that we have to reject, I guess we have to substitute, but the substitute returns it to its original form as it passed the House. It takes away the Senate amendments, and Mr. Chairman, what that does, the Senate committee amendments required probation continue until the entire restitution was paid, and without that, it only requires probation there as long as the probation period normally ordered is. So the probation officer would still be supervising the payment of restitution. The physical impact was in the original, or in the Senate court's version, he continued that supervision past the end of the Senate's supervision time in perpetuity, and so it no longer does that. So our motion would be to offer a substitute, returning it to the way it was read by the House.
Okay. Are you clear on that, Lisa?
Yes, sir.
And we are essentially coming from the Senate bill.
Yes.
Right, so the kind of procedural issue is that if you were to just report the court's bill out of here and reject it on the floor, you'd be essentially endorsing the financial aspects of the court substitute. So we'll report our own substitute that takes the bill back to the form it came over from the House.
Yes, that's, I think this is exactly right.
Okay, all right, so the motion is,
Mr. Chairman, is to report the substitute.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Please give us just another brief explanation. I'm not sure I understood all of what you said.
Mr. Chairman, the Senator Oakenshine's bill left the Senate. It required probation and restitution go until that restitution is paid in perpetuity. So it could be 100 years or however long the person was still alive. We eliminated that and now says the probation will supervise the payment of restitution only as long as the probation for the actual sentence time. So now if somebody's sentenced to 5 years with 5 years probation, the probation officer will follow the restitution until that 5 years expires. So it takes away the ability to follow the restitution piece of it past the end of the probation sentence. So, and Mr. Chairman, with that, the large fiscal impact was the number of probation officers that would be necessary to follow the restitution. So now it's just, in essence, an additional duty of the, in that normal force of work. Okay, and some of the stuff they should have been doing anyway.
All right, there's a motion to adopt the substitute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, and to review your report the substitute. Motion properly supported to report House Bill 1856, amendment nature of substitute. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, that is reported.
Mr. Chairman, next, and I'm going to move these in a block, be it House Bill 2238, Delegate Millers, House Bill 2288, Delegate Collins, House Bill 2473, Delegate Kleins. Each of these were, one was similar to a Senate bill that we did not move forward. Two were new issues that we had not seen. The subcommittee continued its thought process that we needed to move new offenses and new dollars of public safety to the salaries for state police, sheriffs, and 599 funds. And we did have a discussion that the House delegates reduced the 599 funds, which are dollars that go to local law enforcement, by $500,000. And so we recommended that each of those bills be PBI'd because they would put additional pressure, financial pressure on those line items. And so I would so move that HB 2238, 2288, and 2473 be passed by indefinitely because of fiscal impact.
Okay, is there a second to that? Motion properly supported to pass by indefinitely House Bill 2238, 2288, and 2473. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Okay, those bills are passed by.
Mr. Chairman, I want to again publicly thank Mr. Hickman and the subcommittee. We had, I don't want to say the most difficult, but there were some very challenging decisions, and I was very pleased to work with the senators that stayed focused throughout this, that we wanted to put money into the salaries of law enforcement individuals, state troopers, deputies, and local law enforcement. And we did our best to make sure that that could happen, and we continue to stay focused on that as we look at the House bill. So I want to thank them publicly for that.
All right. And thank you, Senator McDougal, for leading that effort. Y'all had probably a couple dozen proposals that had merit, but stuck to your policy of not funding these new issues, so put money on the bottom line for salaries. Appreciate that. Okay, Delegate Orrock.
Mr. Chairman, I think I'm ready.
Okay.
Y'all are ready. House Bill 1838. And Mr. Chairman, staff does have proposed substitute language that will be distributed. And while it's being distributed, which Mr. Chairman, I'll explain. What I'm trying to get at, Mr. Chairman, is under the neighborhood assistance tax credits that are available for education programs that are currently being overutilized, and we try to find a means whereby we incentivize investment in those school divisions that have low-performing schools. i.e. so we're getting a little bit bigger bang for the buck of the state's credit that we're allocating towards that end. I believe my initial bill may have been a little premature, and so, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, what I'm proposing is a Section 1 bill that will have DOE collecting data to see under the current distribution system of the credits that are out there, are we within the 50-50 parameter that I kind of drawn a line in the sand? Do we need to shift it? Do we need to make any differences or distinctions in currently how the program is being administered? So this would now just be a directive to DOE to gather data and let us know the results of that.
Okay. All right,
Mr. Chairman, I think some of us had concerns about the way the original bill. This helps make sure everybody has the accurate information to make decisions going forward. I move the substitute.
Okay, is there a second? Motion by support to adopt the substitute. Is there discussion about the bill now as amended for section 1? Oh, yes, Senator Donovan.
Thank you so much. I think my concern when we look at this study that's really important is that the neighborhood assistance tax credit is designed for poverty and to address the issue of poverty. We are, in a way, redefining what it would be used for by looking at low-performing schools, which have other programs in place for them. So I hope that as we look at that study, we pay attention to that. You always have to dictate what your outcome measures are when you look at that, and I'm not sure it's right to move that funding away from that purpose.
Okay. All right. All right, I think this is a good move on your part, recognizing where we were with your bill.
I think it was dead before.
People have talked to us about it, Laura. But I would say, just for a point of information, that if we were to propose this language in the budget in front of your Congress on HHR, they would reject it because they don't like words, they say. So I want you to point that out to them. Sometimes words are important.
I like bills.
Okay. All right, thank you. What's the pleasure of the committee? Is there a second? Motion. You did. Substitute.
Mr. Chairman, I request that you adopt the substitute in concept. I think there's just some logistical tweaks that I need to work on outside of routine.
Okay. We've adopted the substitute, but as we recognize this, the wording is a working in process, so Lisa's requested the leeway to make some technical adjustments to the wording. Is that the understanding? They want to re-offer your motion then? Okay. Okay, there's a second? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, the House Bill 1838 as amended is in front of us now. The concept. Well, we're a little further than concept. We have the concept nailed down. It's just we're giving her leeway for technical things. Yeah. Okay. All right, motion proper support to report House Bill 1838 as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I've been informed that there's adopted.